Hello, my name is Art Jury. I'm a veteran homeschooler. I homeschooled both of my boys. My youngest is now 21. It has been a very interesting journey. I made a lot of mistakes, and I hope that I can share a few of those so that you can make all new mistakes and not repeat mine. I can remember going to my first homeschool convention, the Washington Homeschool Organization, when I was at the Puyallup Fairgrounds. I went with my wife. I was the primary homeschooler, which was interesting in many ways. There were, I think, 3 or 4 men that were doing the homeschooling in this area, in the Seattle area at the time. We actually sat on a board together at one of the later homeschool conventions. That was fun. But the first one, I distinctly remember going there. My wife was there with me. The boys were running around and, doing things. And we're walking up the aisle, and all these women know my name. And my wife, after a while, looks at me and she says, "Why do all these women know your name?" And, well, turns out when you're the only guy in the room, you become famous. So I guess I'm famous. Legend in my own mind, as it were. It was a lot of fun. I met a lot of really nice people. The Issaquah branch and the group up in Preston, Homeschool Haven, they treated me quite well and welcomed the boys and I into their organization. We participated with a lot of different groups at one time or another. We ran a Lego group at our house in Renton for a long time. And eventually we joined the martial arts. And that was a great journey in itself. So I've prepared a slideshow with the help of the Skillz organization. There will also be a workbook that will have some information for you. If at any time in the future you have any questions, at the end of the video, I have my email address and phone number. I'm happy to answer questions at any time. Even if you just need somebody to chat with, I know I could have used that a few times. I've been through a lot of things. By no means do I know everything, and by no means am I perfect. But sometimes an extra brain, extra set of ears can help you out. So let's see where we go. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy this presentation. Have a great day. Parent Skills Workshop, Connection. The Power of Play. I tried being calm. I tried to yell. I tried my best, but I just couldn't tell. He wasn't listening. He wouldn't follow. My heart began to feel so hollow. How do I teach him? How do I guide? Then all of these things I set aside, because I discovered, as he showed me the way, the best way to reach him is to stop and play. Melody Johnson. Lesson 1. Connection. Connect with your child by getting inside their world. My child wasn't opening up to me. Getting inside their world will help you gain new connections, or you will talk a lot more. If you think about it, this works the same way with adults. When you truly try to understand someone, or someone tries to do it with you, you connect better. You often learn better. Think about when somebody says your name or they ask how you're feeling, you generally get more from whatever interaction you're having. It works the same way for children. Quality time. Sample levels of quality time and the time you dedicate to your child or your relationship with your child. This is going to be the first of the tests. We're going to appear throughout each of the 8 skills. It would be best if you kept a record of these now, put it in your calendar, whatever you got to do, and in 30 days, check and see if you've improved, gotten worse, or frankly, if it's not important to you. And that's fine. We're all parenting on our own path. This is my bag of tricks. And if it works for you and helps, if you just get 1 or 2 things out of this, I'm more than happy. So let's continue on with the test. I'm going to give you what the different levels are, and I'm going to ask you to grade yourself on a level of 1 to 5. So level 1, you hardly spend quality time with your child. Level 2, spending quality time with your child when you have the time. Level 3, spending quality time with your child when they ask. Level 4, making a point to spend quality time at least twice a week. Level 5, intentionally spending quality time with your child every day. Now I'm going to point out that if you're going to reach level 4 or 5, you're going to need to make a schedule. I was not a believer in schedules, calendars, all that kind of stuff kind of gave me hives. Since I've started using them, I'm getting a lot more done, and I wish I'd done it when my boys were younger. We would have had much less stress in our days and would have gotten a lot more done consistently. Consistency, you just got to make a schedule or tie it to an event just before you go to bed, right after a meal, whatever works for you. But if you do not do this with intent, you will have a hard time improving. There are no perfect parents, but if you work at it, you can become better. Along those lines, if you rate yourself a level 1 or a 2, don't feel bad. Now you know what you get to work on. If you're already a 5, give me a call. Maybe you can teach me some things. I'm not a 5 on very many things, so, maybe some of you are. I hope some of you are, because that means that you are having a great time with your child. Lesson 2, connection. The level of your undivided attention makes all the difference in the world. My child wasn't listening to the simplest requests. Increasing your level of attention when asking them to do something works better than yelling. I teach martial arts. I also remember when I was teaching my children. This is one of the most common complaints I hear from parents. My child doesn't listen. This is one of the things I remember having a big problem with as I was raising my boys as well. They had trouble listening. It turns out, as I look back, I was not as tightly connected as I could have been. And better connection works better than yelling. Connection to disconnection. Scale of disconnection to connection when giving a command. You can rate yourself every time you wish to give your child a command on this scale of 1 to 5. Level 1, giving a command from another room. Time to eat. Maybe they're at the other end of the house. Level 2, calling their name and waiting for a reply. Level 3, going to the same room before giving a command. Level 4, making physical contact before giving a command. Level 5, eye and physical contact as you give a command. As a bonus tip, if your eye line is slightly lower than the child's, you will make a better connection. Let's talk about calling Johnny to dinner. So Johnny is at the other end of the house playing Roblox. It's dinner time. So you're cooking. You say, Johnny, come to dinner. I don't know about you, but when I called my boys to dinner that way, it usually required many repetitions. What's a better way? You could, like we said here, call their name and wait for a reply. That'll work. But why don't we just step on up to level 5 and see what the most likely way to get a good response is. A good, in this case, being the response that you want, which they come to dinner. You could go to their room, kneel down so your eye line is slightly lower than theirs. They're playing a game. You look over at the game. You say, hey, that looks pretty cool. What you doing? And they'll give you a short answer, and you'll touch them on the shoulder, and you'll say, that sounds great, but now it's time to go eat dinner. Let's go, Johnny. Let's go eat dinner. I'll bet they almost always do it. Now, you're going to say this takes a lot of time. Yes, it does take more time. But you're both going to feel better when you sit down to eat because nobody yelled and nobody got yelled at. Number 1. Number 2, there's a saying, neurons that fire together, wire together. This is how we form habits. So when you made contact, physical contact with your child, and lowered your eye line a little bit, you give them a good dose of oxytocin, the connection chemical. That makes them feel good. There's other stuff, but we'll get into that another time. It helps them feel good. So now they associate hearing a command from you with feeling good. As you repeat this, it gets wired together in their brain, and you will find they become much better listeners. This works for me when I teach martial arts. I believe it would have worked a lot better for me when I was raising younger children, and I found a good response when I work with other people's children in various ways. So I highly recommend you give it a try, and it will take more time up front, but you'll feel better about it. So will your child. You will find as time goes by, it will get better. Tips from my huge bag of tricks. Getting inside their world. Have 10 minutes of free play daily. Let the child set the rules. Just for 10 minutes. Create something together, like art or a new family recipe, a scrapbook, a new game of some kind. Level of attention. Get down to or below their eye level. Use their name and make physical contact. Turn off your technology. Don't be trying to watch TV or check Facebook or whatever it is people do these days. Pay attention to the person you're with. Parent Skills Workshop, Attunement. Now we're on to our second skill, the magic of knowing you. I know your likes. I know your mood. I even know your favorite food. I see your strengths. I see your struggles. I know when you need more snuggles. I do my best to know you well. I make mistakes, as you can tell. But one thing for sure you should know. I love you so much from head to toe. Melody Johnson. Lesson 1. Attunement. Study your child's stage of development so you know what to expect and what not to expect. My child isn't advancing compared to other kids. Knowing your child's strengths and weaknesses will help you make more realistic parenting choices. I often hear parents in the martial arts school comparing children of different ages. For instance, a 6 or 7-year-old to a 10-year-old. As you study the stages of development, you realize why that is not realistic. And that is just for age groups. Each individual child will have their strengths and weaknesses. A good instructor will be able to address them appropriately. Attunement. Sample levels of attunement to your child. Here's another one of our sneaky tests. So please rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. Level 1. You are hardly attuned to any area of your child's physical, intellectual, emotional, or social stages of development. Level 2. You are attuned to your child's strengths and weaknesses, but don't do much to help them grow. Level 3. You are attuned to your child's strengths and weaknesses, so you try to avoid doing anything that challenges either area. Level 4. You spend a lot of time helping improve their weaknesses. Level 5. You challenge their strengths and nurture their weaknesses. Again, please remember, if you score low, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you got some things to improve, and you can work on it. It's an easy fix. And also, if you score 5 or higher, please give me a call because I'd like to be able to spread your knowledge to other people. Lesson 2. Attunement. Your child may have certain likes and dislikes that may affect their behavior. My child complains a lot. When you are attuned to your child's likes and dislikes, then you can work towards a solution. Likes and dislikes. Sample levels of attunement to your child's preferences. This would be another good one to work as a test. Again, recording the numbers and perhaps referring back to them in 30 days. Level 1. You hardly know your child's likes and dislikes. Level 2. You know some of your child's likes and dislikes, but don't put them together with complaining. Level 3. You recognize complaints stem from a dislike, but you still force them to behave in a certain way. Level 4. You work together to find solutions for their dislikes. Level 5. You prepare ahead of time to curb complaints. Tips. Attuned to development levels. Spend time challenging them on their strengths. Spend time helping them on areas of improvement. Attuned to likes and dislikes. Have open conversations about what your child likes and dislikes. Challenge your child to give something they don't like another try. I will later have another video that talks about stages of development and what you can expect on their physical, intellectual, emotional, and social levels. Parent Skillz Workshop, patience, and give it to me right now. The power of patience. I know you can be a little crazy. I know you can be a little lazy. Patience is key. This I know well. I'll apply it daily. I hope you can tell. I'll take a few seconds before I reply to find a solution for you and I. Patience is the skill I will follow to ensure a more positive tomorrow. Melody Johnson. Lesson 1. Patience. Take the extra time to get your child to go from reactivity to receptivity before you lecture. I get frustrated when my child throws tantrums. Helping your child calm their emotions will enable the upstairs part of the brain to engage. This upstairs refers to the writings of Daniel Siegel, Whole Brain Child, where he talks about the upstairs brain is where thinking and logic occurs, and the downstairs brain is where emotion, basic needs like hunger occur. Patience and responding. Sample levels of patience when your child throws a tantrum. This is another of the areas I would like you to test and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. Remember, there are no perfect parents, but if you work at it, you can become better. Level 1. You have no patience when your child throws a tantrum. Level 2. You try to have a little patience, but you usually respond too quickly. Level 3. You have patience when your child throws a tantrum, but you sometimes respond too quickly. Level 4. You have a lot of patience and can usually respond when they are more receptive. Level 5. Great patience and can always wait until they are receptive. Now, if you think about it, when your child, or you for that matter, are in an emotion, it's kind of like you're in a storm. In a storm, that is not the time to be learning anything. That is just the time for surviving and getting better. And when our children are at their worst, we need to be at our best. It is a challenge. Maybe it's the biggest challenge. I did meet it sometimes, not so much other times. We are what we are, and all we can do is move forward. When someone is responding emotionally, having a tantrum, it's best to wait until both sides are calm to try and talk about what a solution is for the next time this comes up. The time for higher thinking is not when the upstairs brain is shut down and the downstairs brain emotion has taken over. So remember, save your scores and check on yourself in about a month. Lesson 2, patience. Look at challenges as opportunities for powerful, teachable moments. If we look at these as challenges rather than problems, we have a different mindset, we're more likely to solve the problem in a positive way. Mindset really does matter. My child gives up too easily. Children give up when they feel like they won't make progress. Actually, I think we all do. Having patience to help teach your child a lesson will help them build more resilience. I'm sure you've heard it other places, but they are always watching us. You find this out when you say a word you shouldn't and they say it to somebody else. They are always watching us, and they are learning things from our actions that they do not learn from our words. Teachable moments. Sample levels of patience to teach in the moment. Or I would say maybe after. Also, this is another thing that you should test and record so that you can check yourself later. Level 1. You have no patience to help teach your child powerful lessons. Level 2. You try to have patience and teach powerful lessons, but only on rare occasions. Level 3. You have patience to teach powerful lessons, but sometimes you don't have it in you. Level 4. You have a lot of patience to teach powerful lessons and do so as often as possible. Level 5. You intentionally seek opportunities to teach powerful lessons. Rate yourself. Please keep the score and check again in 30 days. Tips. Patience before responding. Create a calming routine, counting to 10, saying favorite things, ABCs. Make a calming song. Give your child hugs and affection when they need it most. Remember, as parents, we need to be at our best when they are at their worst. We cannot be part of the storm. We are the anchor. Patience on teachable moments. Give your child a do-over whenever possible. Some teaching lessons can wait until the next day. Think about it. Would you ever like a do-over for something that you did or said with a friend or family member? Your child is not all that different. Parent Skills Workshop. Prompting. A parent's promise. You don't have to be scared when you don't know what to do. I'll show you the way. I'll help you through. I'll give you tips that help you out. You don't have to be mad. You don't have to pout. Because I was once a kid and I had many fears. I'll prompt you well to lessen your tears. 'Cause you're my child and I love you so much. It's worth my efforts to give a prompting touch. Melody Johnson. Lesson 1. Prompting. Spend more time catching your child displaying good behavior versus waiting to correct poor behavior. I feel like I spend all my time yelling at my child. By prompting your child to make good choices, you will find yourself seeking more opportunities for praise versus yelling. Praise is positive. Positive helps everybody feel good. Prompting good behavior. Levels of prompting positive behavior. This is another place where you can score yourself. Please keep the numbers and check your scores again in about a month. Level 1. You do not prompt positive behavior at all. Level 2. You try to prompt positive behavior, but don't often succeed. Level 3. You sometimes succeed when prompting positive behavior, but not all the time. Level 4. You do a very good job at prompting when your child needs it most. Level 5. You prompt good behavior multiple times per each day. So remember, score yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. Keep those scores. and repeat it again in about a month. Lesson 2. Prompting. Divert behavior issues by providing your child with acceptable choices. Do you want to pick up your toys before dinner or after dinner? Both choices get the job done, and both choices are acceptable to both you and the child. My child doesn't like to be told no. Does anybody like to be told no? By giving your child two acceptable choices, you're avoiding no and providing a yes. Prompting good behavior. Levels of prompting positive behavior. This is another place where you can score yourself. Please keep the numbers and check your scores again in about a month. Level 1. You do not prompt positive behavior at all. Level 2. You try to prompt positive behavior, but don't often succeed. Level 3. You sometimes succeed when prompting positive behavior, but not all the time. Level 4. You do a very good job at prompting when your child needs it most. Level 5. You prompt good behavior multiple times per each day. So remember, score yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. Keep those scores and repeat it again in about a month. Tips. Prompting good behavior. Point out others showing good behavior and challenge them to do the same. Prep them for good behavior by telling them the behavior you'd like to see in advance. Prompting options. Use the when-then scenario. When you finish your dinner, then you can have a sweet treat. Use the yes after scenario. Yes, we can go to the park after you finish your homework. Parent Skills Workshop. Edutainment. The art of edutainment. You think chores are boring and sometimes dumb, but I promise that I will make it fun. And then when I lecture, I want you to know my goal is to help you grow. So edutainment is a skill I'll apply to make things fun for you and I. Melody Johnson. Lesson 1. Edutainment. Think outside the box when helping your child build self-discipline. My child is lazy. By thinking outside the box, you teach your child how to make chores and responsibilities fun and exciting. Let's see who can put their shoes on first. If you beat me, I'll do 5 jumping jacks. Creative thinking. Levels of thinking outside the box. Again, this is a test. Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. Level 1. You don't think outside of the box. Level 2. You try to think outside of the box, but you often don't succeed. Level 3. You sometimes succeed when thinking outside the box, but not all the time. Level 4. You do a very good job at thinking outside of the box when most important. Level 5. You're so good at thinking outside of the box, it's a habit. Box? What box? So please rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. Keep these scores and check again in a month. Lesson 2. Edutainment. Help your child learn in a manner which they embrace. My child doesn't like to be lectured. Do any of us like to be lectured? By helping your child learn in a way they embrace, you will turn a negative experience into a more positive one. Embracing education. Levels of helping your child embrace learning. This is a test. Please grade yourself. Level 1. You do not help your child embrace learning. Level 2. You try to help your child embrace learning, but don't often succeed. Level 3. You sometimes succeed at helping your child embrace learning, but not all the time. Level 4. You do a very good job at helping your child embrace learning when they need it most. Level 5, you help your child embrace learning, and it's now a daily habit. You're a superstar, and you also model to your child how to embrace learning. Tips: thinking outside the box. Use healthy competition when possible to make chores and daily tasks more fun. Make your child's learning environment more fun. Helping your child embrace learning. Role play proper responses to make learning more fun. Kids rehearse for a school play, so why not social and behavioral scenarios too? Prioritize time where your child teaches you something new. This will help you see how they explain things so you can mirror their approach when it's your turn to explain things to them. Parent Skills Workshop. Nurturing. Celebrating you. You may think you're not perfect. You may think you're bad. But I want you to remember that I think you're rad. You're as special as they come, I want you to know. I'll find your true colors and help you grow. Nurturing is a skill I will bring into play to help you feel special every day. Melody Johnson. Lesson 1. Nurturing. Separate the behavior from the child. My child has low self-esteem. By separating the behavior from the child, you can help your child become more self-aware of acceptable behaviors. Behavior versus child. Levels of separating the poor behavior from the child. And this is another one of the tests. Please score yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. Level 1. You don't separate the behavior from the child. Level 2. You try to separate the behavior from the child, but often don't succeed. Level 3. You try to separate the behavior from the child, but sometimes you respond too quickly. Level 4. You do a great job separating the behavior from the child when it is most important. Level 5. You're so good at separating the behavior from the child, it's a habit. Lesson 2. Nurturing. Some seemingly negative behaviors are signs of strength, so look at certain behaviors in a positive light. My child embarrasses me when they are upset. By looking at certain behaviors in a more positive light, you don't get embarrassed as often, and your child builds a stronger self-identity. Reframing behaviors. Levels of looking at some behavior in a positive light. This is one of the tests. Please rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. Keep the results. Level 1. You do not look at some behavior in a positive light. Level 2. You try to look at some behavior in a positive light, but often you are too embarrassed. Level 3. You try to look at some behavior in a positive light, but sometimes don't see the benefit. Level 4. You see the benefits of looking at some behavior in a positive light and do so often. Level 5. You look at behaviors in a positive light. It's now a daily habit. Tips: separating the behavior from the child. Instead of saying the child was bad, say the choice was bad. Provide them with positive options on how to repair the damage caused by poor behavior. Perhaps give them a do-over. Looking at some behavior in a positive light. Say yes to feelings, but no to poor behavior. Redefine your perspective of embarrassing behaviors. Parent Skills Workshop. Adaptability. My wisest self. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad. Sometimes you go with the flow, sometimes you're mad. I'll be adaptable in how I respond, because one thing I treasure is our bond. I'll help you feel empowered when you don't get your way, I'll give you choices that brighten your day. My wisest self I will be, so that the days will be easier for you and me. Melody Johnson. Lesson 1. Adaptability. Practice having flexibility in your responses. My child has mood swings. Being flexible in your response based on your child's mood will help you overcome moodiness quicker. Flexibility with moods. Levels of flexibility in responding to your child's moods. This will be another one of the tests. Please rate yourself and keep your rating for 30 days and check again. Level 1. You do not have flexibility in your responses. Level 2. You sometimes have flexibility in your responses, but you often react negatively to your child's bad moods. Level 3. You usually have flexibility in your responses, but sometimes react negatively to your child's bad moods. Level 4. You have flexibility in your responses when your child needs it most. Level 5. You're extremely adaptable and handle moods proudly and with confidence. Lesson 2. Adaptability. Work to be your wisest self in the most difficult times. Remember, we need to be at our best when our children are at their worst. My child gets angry when he doesn't get his way. When you work to be your wisest self in the most difficult situations, you can help your child feel empowered even when they don't get their way. Reframing behaviors. Levels of looking at some behaviors in a positive light. This is one of the tests. Please rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. Level 1. You don't pay attention to being your wisest self in the most difficult times. Level 2. You sometimes pay attention to being your wisest self, but often respond in a way that isn't wise. Level 3. You often pay attention to being your wisest self, but sometimes respond unwisely. Level 4. You pay attention to being your wisest self when your child needs it the most. Level 5. Being your wisest self is a habit that makes your child feel empowered. Please keep your scores and check yourself again in about 30 days. Tips. Here's some more tips from my big bag of tricks. Response flexibility tips. Be aware when your child is typically in a good mood or bad mood so you can parent according to that mood. It's also important to be aware of your own mood. Use the HALT method first before responding. The HALT method. Is your child or you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? If so, address that before you respond to anything else. Being your wisest self tips. Engage your child in acceptable choices. Work to compromise so that your child learns how to make better decisions. Parent Skills Workshop. Consistency. Consistently loving. Sometimes I'm stressed. Sometimes I'm mad. But I'll still parent great, even when your choices are bad. I know there will be days when you are very wild, but I will still be predictable because I love you, my child. I won't make promises that I can't keep, but I will bend the rules if it will help you sleep. Consistency is the skill that I will give my best. Consistency is more important than all the rest. Melody Johnson. Lesson 1. Consistency. Consistently model the behavior you desire from your child. My child has anxiety. By being a consistent parent in how you respond, regardless of mood, as well as predictability in following rules, your child will be less anxious. Modeling behaviors. Levels of modeling desired behaviors for your child. This is one of the tests. Please rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 and keep the results. Level 1. You do not model desired behavior. Level 2. You sometimes model desired behavior, but often fall off track. Level 3. You often model desired behavior, but sometimes fall off track. Level 4. You do a great job of modeling desired behavior when most important. Level 5. You do such a great job of modeling good behaviors that it is a habit. Remember, please keep your scores and check yourself again in 30 days. Lesson 2. Consistency. Work from a reliable and coherent philosophy. Gotta say, I love this picture. My child pushes boundaries. By working from a reliable and coherent philosophy, then your child will know what you expect from them and what they can expect from you. Reliable and coherent. Levels of working from a reliable and coherent philosophy when parenting. This is a test. Please rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 and keep the results for 30 days. Level 1. You don't work from a reliable and coherent philosophy. Level 2. You sometimes work from a reliable and coherent philosophy, but often fall off track. Level 3. You often work from a reliable and coherent philosophy, but sometimes fall off track. Level 4. You work from a reliable and coherent philosophy when your child needs it the most. Level 5. It is a daily habit to work from a reliable and coherent philosophy. So rate yourself, keep your score for 30 days, and check again to see how you're doing. Tips. Model the behavior you desire from your child. Don't let your mood change the way you parent. Be predictable how you follow rules. Work from a reliable and coherent philosophy. Avoid making threats or promises you know you won't follow through on. Being consistent does not mean being inflexible. Let them know why you are bending the rule when it occurs. Congratulations! You have made it almost to the end. Some of the references I used in developing this was Dr. Dan Siegel's books, Whole Brain Child, No Drama Discipline, and Brainstorms. You can contact me at Dauntless Martial Arts at fastmail.com. It's on the card here. My phone number is 425-577-7617. I do prefer email, but I'm happy to respond any way you contact me. If you know of another group that would like a presentation like this, video, in person, however they like it, please let me know and spread the word. I will be opening my school in June of this year, and I hope to work with homeschool groups of all kinds, and we're going to see where we go. This has been a learning experience, and I hope to learn more as time goes by. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation and learned a few things. I'd like to thank my wife, Angela, and my boys for putting up with me all these years and helped me learn some of the lessons that I hope to pass on to you so that you can make whole new mistakes. I believe the only people who are perfect parents are those that have never had children. I think many of you would agree with that. And there are no perfect parents, but if you work at it, you can become better. I also want to thank Debbie Jurassic and the WHO staff for helping me with all the technical stuff, learning how to do this. WHO is a great organization and has really served the homeschoolers of Washington State well over the years. Highly recommend joining. I'll be teaching in the Puyallup South Hill My mission is for all of my clients, parents, everybody walks through the door to become the best version of themselves and to become dauntless. That has become my passion and my mission over the years. I've studied martial arts for a long time, and I think I can use martial arts and some modern developmental psychology with the help of the Skillz program to help everybody become better, including myself. I'm certainly not perfect. I got a whole lot of growth to do. Hopefully, we can do it together. If you have any questions about this presentation or parenting or need somebody to chat with or offload, you can email me at dauntlessmartialarts@fastmail.com. You can call me 425-577-7617 or 253-245-3350. I'm happy to try and help out. Email is probably preferred, but I'll get back to you any way you contact me. I just want to help folks where I didn't have help in some of these areas as I was working up, and hopefully I can make your path a little easier. Thank you very much, and hope you have a great day.